Yep. You want me on mute or not? Okay. Yeah, I'll gain you levels. Sure. Hey, welcome to Colonial Stadium, home of the Philadelphia Spinners here in southeastern Pennsylvania on a 60-degree, partly cloudy, partly sunny. We'll see that kind of come up and down day here and Memorial Day weekend to kick off on Saturday. I'm Tony Leonardo here with Jeff Poster for the 6th game of the MLU season. And here we've got the opening with the coin toss and a veteran right here from Memorial Day weekend who's going to present us with some action. We're going to go down to the field right now with Leon Chow and Antoine for a little bit.
Hey, I'm here with Leon from the Philadelphia Spinners. Leon, how's it going today?
Pretty well, Antoine.
Good, definitely. So what I want to talk about, last game against the Boston Whitecaps. You had a great first half. You managed to shut Jeff Graham down. Second half, what happened?
Second half, Boston got the ability to pull away. Our team defense was a little lacking at the end of that game there, and our offense made some uncharacteristic turnovers. So at the end of the game, they were just a better team.
So in terms of you in that one-on-one matchup, was it fatigue? Were you injured? Can you tell us what was going through your head at the end of the second quarter?
So towards the end of the game, in the third quarter, I did roll my ankle against them, but I don't want to blame that on anything. There was no fatigue really involved. At the end of the game, our team just wasn't able to pull away.
Are you ready to play today's game? Will the wind be a factor?
The wind is always going to be a factor, but I will be able to play today's game, and we're going to give my best shot.
All right, secure the Spinners to win here. Thanks a lot. I appreciate it. Good luck. This is Antoine, Plymouth White Marsh High School, Philadelphia Spinner Stadium. Right back to you guys up there.
Great. Well, you just heard from Leon and Antoine. Leon was a big factor last week, Jeff, until he got a little injured with the ankle roll you're going to talk about in the game against the Whitecaps. This is a rematch of last week's game. But good to see him looking good and back in action for today's game.
Yeah, absolutely. Leon Chow was a big factor in that first half, and you saw the difference last week. He rolled that ankle, and Jeff Graham was basically unleashed after that, and he ended up in the game with 5 total goals. So if Chow can play what he did in the first half, Graham's going to have a tough time again this one.
Well, we'll look forward to seeing that matchup on the field again today. Well, here we got Will Neff, one of these defensive stars for the Whitecaps down on the field. Let's go to Will and Antoine.
Hey, I'm back down at the field. I'm here with Will Neff. Will, undefeated this year. Are you guys unbeatable?
No, I would say we are not unbeatable. I think we have to do a lot of things right in order to win every game.
So you think that if you can duplicate what you did last game against Philadelphia Spinners, you can win this game?
If we duplicate last game, it'll probably be another close one. Might go up to a couple throws, couple points. I think we have to do a lot better than last game, execution specifically.
You had a really long bus ride here to Philadelphia. You were a little bit late. Will that affect your gameplay today?
It was definitely hard getting into the warm-up and getting up to speed. I feel pretty good about our team right now, but it was a challenge for about an hour there to get onto the field and be ready to go.
Okay, and the same thing, will the wind play a huge factor in today's game?
I think it will. I'm hoping that we can adjust our defense so their handle or weave is a little bit tougher in this wind.
Okay. Well, good luck today, and hope you guys win. Yeah?
Thanks a lot.
All right. Well, there you have it. The matchup is here. It's the rematch that we've all been waiting for. Philadelphia Spinners and the Boston Whitecaps. Back to you guys upstairs.
Thanks, Antoine. There's the flag for Memorial Day weekend. And let's talk a little bit about the matchups, the keys to the game, Jeff. You saw this here last week up in Boston. What are some of the analysis that you've been able to come up with?
Well, first of all, we obviously can tell we saw that flag waving there. It's definitely a windy day here in Philadelphia, so wind is going to play a big factor in this one. But it's going to be a defensive effort here for Philadelphia. They need to come out and really stop Boston from scoring quickly. Boston's going to look for that quick attack this time, as last week they were kind of slow out of the gates and had difficulty scoring in that first half. And part of that we can attest to Leon Chow before he had that injury.
Yeah.
On the other side of it, though, Boston has got to be able to force Philly to go downfield more, try and get maybe their big field game, I'd like to call it, because they don't have much of it. And if they can force that, then Boston's going to be able to really lock down Philly's short game, which they like to go to more so. And that will cause turnovers and difficulties in scoring for the Spinners, like we saw in the second half of last week.
We know already that Boston has a height advantage out here. And two of the big men, but specifically for height for Philadelphia, is also not here this weekend. That's Art Schull, one of their main defenders. Here's the pull to start the game. of the big match between the 2-3 Philadelphia Spinners and the undefeated 5-0 Boston Whitecaps. With a win here today, Jeff, the Whitecaps do clinch a playoff spot, believe it or not, and they will go to 6-0 in the Eastern Conference, and looking forward to more. Trapped on the sideline here, Malachek picks up the disc, and already we're seeing a 3-2-1 zone, 3-2-1-1 zone from Philadelphia to try to force some short field turnovers, perhaps from the handle out of Boston. Let's see what they're going to try to do with it. Malachek's already trying to survey the field. This is a good strategy when you see a zone in a windy, and it is 15 to 20 mile an hour winds out there. So they're gonna look around. Here's Cooper with the disc. This is a familiar handle core that we're going to see all game with Cooper and Malachek and slipping in over there. Look like Zid is helping out for Boston. Marquette, who's wide open over here on the side, is going to try to mix it up in there. Malachek is going to test this zone with the range on his throws that he has. Right now it's pretty easy cheesy. Cooper with the big over the top, and he gets it to his man, to Pryle, and Peter gets it up to Graham, to Danny Clark. Danny Clark with the left to Malachek. Malachek's got Cricket in the end zone for the goal. Not too bad there, Jeff. Not too bad.
Yeah, it looked like the Whitecaps kind of took things slow, wanted to see what Philly was going to hand them to defensively. We saw Malachek kind of surveying the field, pointing out where he wanted his guys to go. And, just 6-7 passes later, they're in the end zone for the easy score. Cricket, Josh Marquette in there for the score. Peter Pryle had the great reception, pretty much the longest reception on that one. It was probably only about 20 yards or so. Here we see it again. There's Jeff Graham starting things off. Danny Clark getting it back over to Malachek, and Malachek finds Cricket, who some nice little jumping and footwork.
Yeah, one little toe down. The big toe with the score. Number one in your hearts, number one in your minds, Josh. Cricket Marquette that invented or sort of popularized the clam defense in the 90s, which was a terrifically effective defense and really messed with people. Here's Harrison Treegroup for Philadelphia picking up the disc, number 3, who is replacing one of the stars who's out today, Nick Harrinet, who we'll see him tomorrow. Gets it up real quick to Mike Panna. It's a man-to-man defense, so no zone for Boston. And looks like Philly's got some space to work it now, and they're going to use the sideline. Gets it up to the Bear Brothers, puts it to Katzenbach, who's got the space. But no, Will Neff with the layout, and picked up off the ground by Trey Katzenbach.
He
calls it down.
No catch. It was a great bid, but no grab. The ref waved it off.
He was doing a little bit of a celebration, but it turns out that Neff's layout D will be the count. We have a travel. This is going to give the disc right back to Trey. Looks like he might have an opportunity then to actually get that goal. Okay, they're moving him back. All right, so he started the disc in the wrong place. They're moving it to the turnover. That's what that is, Jeff. Gets it up to Teddy. Teddy Brower-Jaris tries to lace it in a little too far, and Michael Pena is going to pick up the turnover. Over to Treegoob, up to Bear, who's got a haircut.
He's
got a haircut out there.
Bear was a huge factor in last week's game. Made a miraculous grab over in the end zone. It looked like it hit the ground, but just got enough fingers underneath it. See if he becomes a big factor today again.
He's pretty good with these throws. One of the highest completion rates for the Spinners, so he's a key player for these guys. Swings it over to Treegoob with the left. He's got 2 men. He sails it in nicely from Michael Panna. Easy score, and it's 1-1.
Well, Harrison Treegoob filling in already very nicely here with the missing Haranet. Philadelphia able to match Boston's first score, and that one looked a little bit easier even for Philly after the turnover. We see it again.
Right. I mean, that tip disc by Will Neff was amazing, and I really thought that Trey Kimba, there's Panna catching it. Pretty easy when you get 2 people over to that side. So far, the wind hasn't been a terrific factor. It is swirly out there, so sometimes it pops up in the air. I was throwing some discs earlier on the field, Jeff, I was telling you, and sometimes they'll just cruise right in. Sometimes they'll pop over your head. Sometimes they'll drift one way or another. Yep. You never quite can tell where it's going to go, and we saw Teddy Brower-Jaris, when he got the turnover here, kind of test it out a little bit with his lefty flick and see if that was going to make some connection, and it did not work. So all these pulls so far we've seen. Pull from Bear, I believe, are been sailing out here to the near side, and we're going to see that again as Cooper lets it go by, and Malachek will pick up the disc instead and work it to the middle of the field here to start play at 1-1. 7 minutes on the clock. And Spinners back again in their zone defense. Got Kurt Henning out there.
Ooh, nice grab.
Marquette picks it up. Danny Clark. Clark to Cooper. Right back to Marquette. Marquette looking for Danny Clark. It's a great target to have there in the middle. Back to Marquette. So far, no problem at all. That advantage of moving it to the middle of the field on the short and out-of-bounds pull. Uh-oh, he lost it up a little high. It's going to hang, and good defense by Ben Fang to get up there and kind of get in the face of Jeff Graham. He wasn't able to come down with that. And Zargum's got Jeff Graham trapped over here, but no, he's able to swing it across to the other side. Philly gets it to Fang, who makes a nice play with in front of a diving Marquette. Swings it over to Zargum. Zargum wants to get it, but Graham was baiting that side throw, and now this offensive team. So now we see the strategy, Jeff. They're going to play. Right now, Boston's playing zone when the offense turns it over on defense. So their O-line will play zone, and it seems like their D-line is going to play man. Fang. It's it up to Kurt Henning. Zargum finds Farfari. Farfari back to Zargum. He's got Casey over here, but he doesn't find it. Gets it to Fang instead in the middle of the field, who's surrounded by 4 Whitecaps, and they're going to call a double team on that. Triple team.
Triple team, yeah. You can do 2, you just can't do 3.
Can't do 4 either, apparently. That looked like about 4. Fang is going to get it over to Furf. Furf is looking and not finding anybody. Dumps it back to Fang. So now through the middle to Zargum. It's a nice play. Is he going to get it back to Furf? No, swings out to to Fang. Fang. Casey's not getting anything here on the near side. And they're still taking their time. I like that they're kind of trying to find where the opening is and not waste possessions, Josh.
Well, they're working that short game that they did at first pretty well in that game last week against Boston. Then Boston was able to find the gaps in it, but we'll see if they can get it in for the score here as they approach the end zone.
So I got excited there was Zargum ripped the scuba over the top. Very useful to have that throw to break through a zone like this. Uh-oh, that's going to get there. Slips it by Malachek. Over to Farfari. Back to Fang. Fang still looking. The Cutters need to get a little more involved here, Jeff. There we go. Once they flooded, and Salasco, I believe, was able to get up there. They were able to get it over to Casey. Now they need to do that again. They need to get more movement into the center here. They got 3 guys on the near side, does Philadelphia, with not doing anything. Oh, that's Justin Carter, number 5. I'm sorry. Uh-oh, this one's too far, too quick, and Jeff Graham, Grasshopper they call him, is able to spring into action, right? Yeah. Danny Clark now with the disc. So all that patience didn't quite pay off. Neff. Sorry, Pryal. Pryal has Marquette. Marquette isn't able to get there with the collapsing Philadelphia defense. Back to Jeff Graham. Swings it to Pryal. There's a whistle. Got a little travel call. Let's see, it's on the reception, so it's only going to go back 10 yards.
Yeah, Peter Pryal taking a couple of extra steps on that reception. Double-checking with the ref to make sure what he was doing.
Well, and that worked out well for them, does it? Does Cricket able to get his? It's going to be out of bounds. Great lad. It just drifted. That's one of those examples, Jeff, where they just kind of drifted away.
Yeah, and I don't know if the wind necessarily played a factor in that one or maybe just a little bit of a rushed throw. Marquette did a nice job at least going in for it, a nice bid and attempt there. See if they can get back on defense after a couple of miscues here with the offense.
Well, their offense looked pretty good. They just had that one throw that I want to say Graham almost kind of baited almost, you know. Yeah, we see Glazer coming in. I'm sorry, we have a substitution. It looks like, I want to say Slater or Matt Gallen might be coming in. Jack Casey is taking a sub. It looks like a little injury sub for Jack Casey on the Spinners.
Danny Clark also coming out for Boston.
Looks like they might have brought Teddy in.
Yes.
Okay. Teddy Bargeris, number 18 for Boston, and this looks like Gallen with the disc. Gallen's got some big throws, and you know they've got him for this week. They didn't have him last week. He's been got distracted. Was Farfari by Pryal right there, and took his eyes off the disc and gives a really short field to Marquette, who's able to find Graham.
Yeah, we see the distraction there on defense ends up paying off for Boston. You can't turn it over when you're that close to your opponent's end zone. And Boston is able to easily turn that over for a score. Jeff Graham making a nice cut in the end zone there.
Well, it's a good field position game. Yeah, Marquette walks it up. He's got a short distance. He's got a man standing there who fortunately gets out of the way for him and is able to find Graham. Graham collecting, I don't know if he's the league leader, Jeff, in goals caught, but he's certainly up there. It's either him or Purston.
I believe he at least leads the league in points, whether that's goals scored, and I think it's more of a combination of assists as well.
Superstar fantasy points, I believe.
Yes.
Jeff Graham from your school, I believe, UMass.
That's
UMass
right.
Amherst. Graham with the pool here. I'm sorry, Mike Miller with the pool for Boston. Coming down to Harrison Tregoob in the center of the field with Bear cutting. He's got nobody. Already the count's getting up a little bit. Finally he finds David Bear. Bear gets it to Harrison, and now it's a man defense, just as we had spoken about. Bear with a forehand. I like where that's going. Murray should track this down, and he does. Not easy, but he gets there. Now he's got a short field to work with. Let's see if he can find someone on this tough man defense. Should get a call here, and he does. On a little body contact from the Boston defender. So now he's on the line and scores to Trey Katzenbach. I'm sorry, they're calling that back. Looks like a delay of game call. And back to Sean Murray. So Murray's looking around. He gets Panna on the give and go, and back to Sean Murray for the goal. Nice play. A little dish and swish.
Yeah, Sean Murray disrupted initially on the first throw, but doesn't let him phase him any bit. And like you said, Tony, just a little dish backwards to get another back to your handler. We see it again here. He was double teamed.
Where do you use that double team, actually? Well, that's the proper form out there. When you're double teamed, is to find the person who...
somebody's open.
Somebody's going to be open.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So Sean Murray with a nice job there and a good leap into the end zone.
I like Philadelphia's patience so far in this game. It's a 2-2 game, and you think, hey, wow, low scoring. Hey, that's great for them. They want to keep this high-powered Boston offense from scoring quickly, from scoring a lot of points, and really just try to keep this game in reach. Again, Boston at 5-0. Philly has lost 3 in a row, Jeff. So.
Yeah, that's tough, especially with such a short season and trying to find that. Boston's pretty much got this first seed playoff berth wrapped up. Philly's got to – they really need to turn things around, especially here this weekend with another game tomorrow.
That's right. They have a big game tomorrow.
Against D.C.
Yeah, down in D.C. So this is the first of a back-to-back where their record could fluctuate between, 2-game swing. They could be 4-3 at the end of the weekend or 2-5.
That second-place spot is really up for grabs between D.C., New York, and Philly.
Well, here's Boston with the zone offense against Philly's 3-person cup. And we see Marquette with the disc. Now, this could be a problem. These guys have a lot of throws. Coach Maroon for the Spinners already told me they have a lot of great throwers on the Boston team, and he's not exaggerating it by any stretch of the imagination.
No, not at all. They list, they list 3 handlers.
Uh-oh. Just as we say that, we might have cursed that. Ooh, just barely. Bear is able to come down with that after it got D'd up, and the overthrow from, I believe, Malachek results in a minute and a half left for Philly to try to get on it. And the big huck goes up. Let's see, it's going to float a little bit. Peter Pryle's back there for Boston, and Perifico tries to go up early, I believe, and not able to come down with it. And D'd goes over to Boston.
Well, that's when we were talking about before the game, Tony. You said you spoke to Bill Maroon before the game, and they want to make, what are those, 50-50 grabs 50% of the time
That's
if
right.
they can. And that was an example of one. Peter Pryle was back there for Boston and really just had great positioning there to disrupt that one for Philly trying to bring it in.
Yeah, Matt Paparone, was the Philadelphia player there on the bid, but just out of his reach. And again, with the defense both being there, not able to come down with it. 50 seconds left for Graham here with the disc. Back to Cooper. Cooper's looking to Malachek, who swings it wide. And let's see. I'm trying to look and see what kind of openings they have. And here's one of them, but Perifico can't get there. He tripped a little bit on the turf and not able to kind of get to that poach spot. 29 seconds left and ticking, so This is going to be interesting. Now they're starting to jailbreak here. Marquette was going to go to punch it into Pyle for the goal.
Pyle all alone pretty much there in the end zone, having a nice cut, and Boston using a good clock management there. They're going to force Philly now with only 21 seconds left to go here in the first quarter. They're going to really have to work to find a quick score to keep this game close there out of the first.
I want to know who's going to be that person. I agree with you, and without hearing that on the field with their hucks, maybe Gallon. You know, maybe Gallon might be the guy to try to jack it down if they get within a time limit here. 20 seconds left. 3-2 Boston here in the first quarter, and a now sunny evening here in southeastern Pennsylvania. So here's the Whitecaps about to pull. What a season it's been for these guys. I mean, you know, Jeff, they're used to winning, and when this league was started, I think they saw another opportunity to have a historic opportunity to again put another notch on their belt of championships and sort of success that they have up there in Boston. Well, so here's Philly with these. And now Boston comes down in zone, but Philly moves it very quick. Murray able to get the Katzen back. 10 seconds. Trigub, let's see, 4 seconds left. They're going to have to put it right now. Pana's going to have to. He's got a man, and it's a goal. Well done, Stephen Thor. Pana times that perfectly.
Yeah, great timing there. I was about to think that Philly, they're running out of time, but a great job there by Pana connecting with Thor in the end zone, and they're able to tie this thing up as we close out the first quarter.
Well, here on MLU Live, thanks for watching. We're going to go to a commercial break, and we'll be right back. There's Pana zipping it in to Stephen Thor for the goal. Hey, we're back. MLU Live. This is Game 6, Philadelphia-Boston. Rematch of last week. Boston Whitecaps 5-0. Philadelphia at 2-3 and currently tied at 3s. Here's the sideline with Steve from Philadelphia. Now, we just saw a quick score at the end of the half, Jeff. You saw this a little bit last week.
Yeah, and that's a big factor in these games, is being able to manage the clock at the end of quarters and the end of halves. And both teams, it was really a game of two halves. Philly took advantage of that in the first half, closing out the the first and second quarters.
Both quarters with quick scores.
And Boston had Danny Clark in the third quarter. Obviously, there's no score at the end of the game, but it's big when you can see the clock and Philly just had about 21 seconds going into that final pull, and they did a nice job moving the disc up quickly. A couple of throws back and forth, and then the great cut and throw by Pana there for the score for Philly. So being able to have good clock management, especially at the end of quarters, at least to either keep the game close or tie things up or take a lead going into the next quarter.
It's just a boost also to just the team on the sideline, knowing that just to have that score and know it's tied up at the quarter and not down. You see it a lot in basketball and other sports and stuff. So great play there by Philadelphia, and maybe we'll see some more of that like we did last week. Real quick, I'll give you talk about 5 Ultimate sponsors. 5 Ultimate is the official apparel provider of the MLU. They are true lovers of the game and have built their company with a vision for growing the sport and outfitting those who play it. Visit them at 5ultimate.com or follow them on twitter.com, 5ultimate. Jeff, I have a lot of 5 Ultimate gear, I'm not going to lie. I have loads of it.
You are a proud wearer of 5 Ultimate, I can tell.
I know all 5 of them. I can tell you all the names of all the 5 brothers and sisters.
Oh, yeah?
Yep. You ready?
Let's go for
Zalen, Exton, Vero, Chena.
Last one.
Want
to
kill me.
Right?
Vero. Rory.
There you go.
Someone tip me off. Okay, here's the pull from Philadelphia. 3-3. Start of the second quarter on a windy day the wind is supposed to drop down a little bit, and maybe that will help. But right now it hasn't affected these guys out here. With the throws that they have on both sides of the field have been fairly crisp, and I find that to be impressive always. Marquette now with the disc. Slides it through the middle to Jeff Graham. Graham fakes it up and fakes it down and then decides to drop it down to Cooper after all. Cooper is Danny Clark here on the near side, and Malchek's looking at him, and he's going to put it there.
All alone.
Yep, he was just kind of camped out there, hiding. I don't know how you hide a 6'2" guy like Danny Clark. And Clark's going to drop it down to Pryle. Peter Pryor's looking for Jeff Graham. No. Oh, he's got some time in his issue. Oh, did he catch that? They call that up. Cooper is going to keep that up, and it's Peter Pryor with the disc. Pryor looking for Cooper on the give and go. The switch to man has kind of gotten in Boston's head a little bit, yet they are on the short porch with the opportunity to score, and they do. Marquette finds Malachek in the end zone for the goal.
Normally we see Malachek throwing those ones in, but this time he's in there for the goal. Boston very lucky there with that near bobble, and I thought it might have hit the ground initially, but
it was pretty close. It was pretty close. I mean, I don't think Cooper did a sell job necessarily, but he did just play on, which is what you should do. Here's Marquette. Yep. Fakes it once to the right, fakes the backhand, and slides it to the open man on the forehand side, and that's Brandon Malachek. We were talking earlier, Jeff, about college nationals this weekend.
Right.
And with the man who just caught that goal, Brendan Malachek, he should, of course, know that his team, Wisconsin, here in the pre-quarters, which is almost disappointing for them, as they, at least the two of the years he was there, won the national championship, 2007, 2008. So Malachek, Trent Simmons is another man on this team from Wisco, I believe, and Wisco there in the pre-quarters. If they win against UC Davis, they will play Oregon in the quarterfinals in Madison, Wisconsin tomorrow. So up to Stephen Thor. Again, here's the man defense from Boston. Swings it over to Katzenbach, who's going to help out on the handle. Back to Bear. Treegoop's trying to make some cuts out there, and he's open on the side, and Katzenbach finds him, but he's not able to collect it. Scuba came in a little hot for Treegoop, and it falls to the turf, and Teddy Brargeris with the disc. And the turnover with this nice little lefty release gets it up to Reinhardt. So a turnover from Philly gives a short field to Boston, and they're patiently looking for some opportunity. Teddy Brargeris, who will be coaching the Colombian World Games team in Colombia in July, believe it or not. Will Neff finds the turf, unfortunately, on that upfield throw. And, Treegood not able to come up with that one as well. A little too far out of his reach on Pana's upfield dump. And there's a quick call here on the Phillies' second turnover. And we're going to looks like it might be a timeout. Delay of game? Let's go to commercial break on this, and we'll come back and we'll give you the full scoop here on MLU Live. Hey, here we are back again at the home game for the Philadelphia Spinners, 6th game of the season, again against the Boston Whitecaps. Their second time facing each other. We've got the offense on the field here for the Boston Whitecaps after the turnover from Philadelphia and a timeout call. There's the fans in Philadelphia enjoying the day here. The wind has died down a little bit, and the sun is peeking through the clouds, giving everyone a little bit of a burst of some nice sunshine on this Memorial Day weekend. Well, it looks like we might have had an unsportsmanlike conduct call earlier. We'll get to the bottom of that as we check back in here. 4-3 for Boston is your score. As you see here in the second quarter, I'm Tony Leonardo here with Jeff Poster from Boston. You came down on the bus with these guys.
I did. It was a fun trip down this morning.
And I heard you watched a few movies.
We did indeed. A little bit of a. I think Boston wanted to get inspired by watching Disney's The Mighty Ducks.
The Mighty Ducks. and there was a couple other sports movies involved.
We did take a look at the 2009 Club National Tournament.
And we know why, because Marquette won that.
That's
tournament.
Right. He was on the winning team. It was his DVD.
Here he is, right here. In fact, there's Marquette, who insisted upon inspiring his team by showing all the highlights from his play.
And he had a great game.
And I'm sure, in fact, Boston was at that tournament. They're probably like, yeah, he beat us. Darn you guys. The big scooper over the top to Pryle. Marquette shows off a little bit of that skill right there with the quick check in the disc and throw that scooper over the top to Peter Pryle for the goal.
What I like about that goal right there, Marquette, he faked his man out with his eyes. He's not really looking in the right direction. You see him, he's like little overhand scoop throws. We watch it again. He's looking this way. And he knows that Peter Pryle's cutting downfield and farther deep into the end zone. He's looking all the way most of the time, and then you just see it. He releases, and Pryle's got his man beat. Good cut, easy score.
Well, that win, not an easy throw either. He made it look sort of easy, but that's a good 25-yard scuba there. And with the swirls, it's never that easy. So Philadelphia finding themselves down again now by 2. Let's see if they can claw their way back into this game after a disheartening series of turnovers and the no-look scuba from Marquette for the score. Will Neff here, who we talked to earlier. Big puller. Again, another college nationals veteran for Michigan. And at one point was basically the high school player of the year up in Amherst. He pulls it down to Philadelphia. Pana on the field with Katzenbach, Bear. Up, down. Salasco can't hold that disc on a hot throw to the sideline here. And Broderick Jarris will pick up the turnover. And here's Boston with a 3-goal opportunity, and he is going to rip that. It's going to hang up and float a little bit. And it got read nicely. Picked off the ground by Brent Anderson. Anderson wants Stevens, but he's not going to be able to find him, and he's going to have to drop it back down to, it looks like, Robin Myers. Myers swings it out to Neff. Neff with the overthrow. Yes? No? Oh, D'd up. So Neff did overthrow his man, or he was trying for Reinhardt and missed. Thor picks it up, but they got a long field to work now, Jeff. And the bobble by Bear.
We've seen quite a few of those so far today.
And
Boston takes over.
And the quick dish right there from, this is a time where seems like the game's getting in Philadelphia's heads a little bit.
Yeah, just a little bit. You see a couple of mistakes here, mental mistakes, those bobbles and a couple of dives and just overthrown passes. And Boston is great. Boston has a great IQ on the field. They know what they have to do when they have to do it. And we see right there the bobble by Philly and the quick pickup by Boston. No hesitation right here. We see the bobble.
Yeah, and with this lefty release here.
Jarris ready right away and gets into Reinhardt.
Philadelphia's got to just preach that, stay with it. Keep your eyes on the disc. Just go out there. Hey, you know what? Ultimate is, it's the easiest game in the world. Catch and throw. Catch and throw.
Executing the simple things. That's get back to basics. Don't think of your throw before you catch the disc.
Yeah. And don't think about catching the disc. Just keep it in front of you. Keep your eyes on it. Just follow your hands into it. And anyway, let's see if they can regroup here after a 3-goal run from Boston. No timeout from Philadelphia, however. And Treegoob with the disc facing now a zony, kind of junky zone is what this is from Boston. Katzenbach is going to look for something. Count's getting up a little bit. Bear, make sure he holds that one down. Up to Katzenbach. Gives it to Farfari to Trigoob. Trigoo's got Murray deep, but Murray is going to play some offensive points. Oh, what a layout! Michael Bear pulls that off the turf to save the possession for Philadelphia, and up to his brother, David Bear, who finds it into the goal. Oh, what a catch! That's a way to come back after a couple disheartening turnovers, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. Philly had a couple of bobbles, missed catches, overthrows in the last possession, and this one just full of layouts.
Yeah.
Look at the one there by Michael Bear. And David Bear able to get the assist there for the score. Nicely done there by Philly.
To Glazer for the goal, and wow, beautiful. That's a way to feel good about yourselves. Make a couple beautiful layouts. Come down with that piece of plastic.
Glazer sporting that orange band on his right arm after the unsportsmanlike conduct. So as we see it again, here's the first one. Oof, great layout there. And quick reaction. Now we see David Bear with a great throw and the even better layout right at the corner before he got out of bounds.
Yeah. Well, let's see if Philly can kind of ride this momentum they might have gained from that Gallen with the pool here. If they get a turnover, there's going to be turnovers. The fact is, it's a windy day. A beautiful pole gets 5 yards deep into the end zone. I don't know how he did that. But the fact is, there's going to be turnovers, and it's up to Philadelphia now to try to capitalize on that. Graham up to Marquette. Marquette does a little dishy throw that sails in. Whoa. Pryor has to kind of go down for that, but he does collect it. And Marquette's putting a little bit of a show with his throws right now. Back to Marquette. That'll make that point I just made moot if Marquette keeps on making these crisp kind of trick circusy throws. Marquette looking for Cooper. Cooper's not quite in. Cooper's going to have to dish it up the line, and he does for the goal to Peter Pryle. So Alex Cooper gets on the board, and wow, after that deep pull, I don't know how they just worked right up the sides. It never even got to the near side, Jeff. They just stayed on the far side. Yeah,
Boston did this quite well last week, especially in the second half. They move fast, and it keeps Philly's defense off balance as we see the whistle here. Marquette getting things set up, and he finds Cooper, and then Cooper able to get in. Not quite enough, but a great cut here from Pryle. Pryle's been all over this game so far today.
He has, yeah. I think he's third or fourth goal he's notched already. We're going to have to check with our stats folks for that. But Peter Pryle, another college nationals guy with his Middlebury team. Boy, when he was on that Middlebury team, he was unstoppable. I've had to try to guard Peter Pryle before. It's really pretty much one of the most unfun things you can do.
And imagine going against any of these guys. It's not exactly
actually,
fun.
Yeah. Especially when they're tall like Pryle is, it's really a bummer. So there's the pull down. 7-4 is your score. Up to Panna. Panna is Katzenbach's trying to find a spot in the zone. And there's Glazer, recognizable, of course, now with the band. Number 14 is in the handle position. Back to Panna, who wants Bears, trying to make some cuts here, but gets Harrison Trigoo. Trigoo finds his man. And that is Thor finding his man, Murray. Murray's got a shot here. He's got a chance he's going to be patient. I like this. Back to Panna. That was a good connection earlier for these two. Panna swings it to Harrison. Trigoo with the lefty is going to get it back to Panna, who is also taking his time on this kind of slack defense from Boston, but they are protecting the swings. They're not quite getting enough width on their swings as Philadelphia. And Boston now forcing them backwards. And he's going to have to make a choice
very
here.
Much.
And he has to find his man Katzenbach, guarded there by Jack Hatchett from Wisconsin as well. And Mike Miller on the D from UPenn for Boston. Finally, Panna's got his man, and that's Glazer for his second goal in a row. Michael Panna with the throw.
Panna and Glazer are having a good connection so far today. We saw Glazer. I think they initially tried to get him earlier as he was making cuts over to the far side, and they just couldn't get an opening over to him there. But Boston did a nice job at forcing Philly backwards, but finally able to get the longer huck out to Glazer, who had 2 men deep down there and able to beat both of the Boston defenders. Good score by Philly.
Well, they're playing with the Innova disc. The Innova is the official disc of the MLU. the Innova Pulsar. Designed in cooperation with players and staff at the MLU, the new Pulsar is the perfect disc for the pro game. Get your Pulsar today at shop.mlultimate.com or visit innovadiscs.com for a look at the rest of their product line, including world-class disc golf gear. Disc golf, of course, is where Innova has long been known, and this is a foray for them into Ultimate, really. Discraft has been kind of running this operation for quite a while, but these Innova discs are very nice. And they have a nice feel. They're the volume of the disc we talked about is a little more than that of the Discraft. That means nothing, really, but it's a difference. That's what I'd like to point out.
What you're talking about.
Well, there's the big throw from Malachek to find the man, Danny Clark. What a D!
Wow.
That's got to be Purifico. Anybody
is.
who makes that kind of layout, I recognize with his piercing on his lip there. But Purifico able to climb back into the D after Malachek is able to get off a clean look to Danny Clark.
Danny Clark thought he was all alone there, and he was kind of waiting for that one to come down a bit, but Purifico out of nowhere with a great layout D.
Let's see if they can capitalize now. This might be a time where the timeout might be useful. They got 3 minutes left, and their D-line is forced to play offense against a stiff win in a 4-person cup from Boston. Slides it into Matt Gallon. Is that Gallon? I believe it is. It's Skylar Redding. Purifico swings it. There's Gallon, 79, I'm sorry. And Gallon gets it over to the side, the far side, back to the near side, and Michael Bear. There's a call here. And it is, yes, it's a timeout. This is the smart call from Philadelphia to get their offense on the field. So, hey, thanks for watching. We're going to stay right here on the channel, and we're going to come back to you in just a bit. So here in the timeout at 7-5 Boston. Jeff, we've noticed that one of our keys to the game was limit Jeff Graham.
Not an easy task, though.
But it has happened.
So far, yes, they've done a nice job, Philly, in limiting Graham and his appearances here today and how he's gotten involved. We've seen him make a couple of catches, but not really a huge factor. And Graham wasn't a big factor in the first half last week either. It was really that second half after Chow went down with the injury that Graham was able to pick up the pace and get in for, I believe he had 5 total scores in the game. So we'll see if Boston can get Jeff involved here as the first half is winding down with 3:15 left to go. And will he be a second half factor again this week?
And I think all signs point to yes, but the person who's filled in for him that's been making all those catches is Peter Pryal. So you take out Graham, and there's another quick, speedy guy with ups and Pryal to fill a spot. Gallon swings it almost at Callahan. Clean D by Will Neff. Turnover picked up by Brent Anderson. Here's an opportunity for Boston, and they're going to capitalize. Wow, what a turn of events after the timeout call.
Yeah, that's exactly what you don't want to do if you're taking a timeout and you're on offense. You got a planned strategy, a play drawn up, and you come out and Will Neff makes a great layout D like that. Now what you want to see, almost like you said, Tony, the Callahan. But Boston, again, as we see it here, he lays out, sacrifices the body nicely. And Philly's just kind of watching, waiting around. Boston quick up the field again, and Robin Myers wide open.
Yeah. Will Neff is scary. He's another tall guy, quick ups. He took out my college team back in the day, my alma mater, I should say, in the Midwest there when he was at Michigan, and just kind of ripping it up there. And very difficult defender, and we've seen it a couple times now.
Yeah, he's
making plays.
Been another big factor today. And it's a similar situation to last week in that Boston's defense is doing a lot of the work today and keeping Philly's offense on the field and not really getting a chance to take a break and get a breather on the sideline. So possibly fatigue can become a factor for the Philadelphia offense at times against a very, very stellar Boston D.
Well, Coach Maroon has got to be figuring out some strategy adjustments for his spinners at this point. Although there's not much you can coach when turnovers happen, and when you're facing a stiff defense, there's not much to change up. It just catch the disc and make some plays. And there, unfortunately, is a turnover from Philadelphia when Jack Hatchett gets in there quick to kind of poach in what was an out throw from Bear. Read quickly and picked up now by, it looks like Stevens, or maybe Neff. But anyway, Boston again with another chance here. Neff drops it up high, and it's caught, barely, but it is. Defense, and now it looks for the goal. Collected. Cha-ching, cash money, number 3 for the goal. Brian Zid for Boston.
Yeah, Boston again. That defense is turning into better offense for them, and that's what they do best. They're a good heads-up team. We saw a great cut there by Hatchett with the D. And again, they just beat their team up the field, as we see it here again.
I mean, he just kind of read that really nicely.
Yeah. Yep. Almost like he was playing on offense there instead of being on D. And Zid all alone again in the corner of the end zone there for a goal.
Neff is staying on the field. There's Teddy Brower-Jaris with the disc. And Will Neff standing next to him. Hirschberger, number 43. And Stevens next to him, number 29 for Boston. Reinhardt is out there, Brent Anderson. And now Philly has brought in some new faces here on the O-line. They got Leon Chow, who, of course, was the defensive star in the first half last week, and they're bringing him on offense. And Katzenbach is going to start to handle with some of the duties. Up to Bear, Michael Bear, that is. Michael Bear gets it up to Gallon. Gallon to Chow. Chow with the lefty. Salasko can't come up with that one. A little bit behind him. The timing is off. Brower-Jaris tries to draw the foul, doesn't get it, but does get the completion to Hirschberger. Hirschberger is faking one way, swinging it wide to Neff. Neff with the throw. Having Neff on the D-line is amazing because he's an offensive threat as well. And Myers up to Anderson. Anderson surveying it. See, they're happy to stay on the sideline here, except for that big throw from Teddy. Too far from Brower-Jaris. Whew. Reinhardt wanted that one.
It was the right idea. He had Reinhardt making the cut. He was alone, just a little bit short on that throw from Brower-Jaris.
It's tough to lay that in with this kind of crosswind. Yeah.
It just it dies pretty quick on Reinhardt trying to make that dive for it.
Looks like we got a call here in the field. This Chow checks it in. Gets it up to Salaska this time, but it's going to be walked back 10 yards on must be a travel on the reception. So Stevens guarding Chow. Chow with the disc on the sideline on the near side. Gallon's his swing out man, and he gets it to him. Gallon with the disc. Gallon fakes the rip, which is nice. Chow gets it underneath finally to his man, which is Sean Murray, who we've yet to see a major impact, but has made some nice plays still. Gallon swings it to Chow. Chow looking. Chow back to Gallon. I like the movement here. They're getting some nice movement. They're moving it both sides of the field. Up to Bear. Bear has Salasko, but drops it back to Gallon, who is going to take his time and drop it back to Bear. They're a little bunched up now here. They're bunched up in the center as Philadelphia.
We did see a couple of the Philly cutters making some deep cuts. They haven't gone deep much of this game, and that's what Boston's defense has had success, is they've been able to make the cuts in the short game and play them under because they can't go deep against Boston. We did see Glazer he's down there by the goal line right now.
You're right. That's what the hatchet D was on that third throw out of the last possession was. Oh, well, double team is effective there for a minute. Ooh, the clock is going to be a factor. 7 seconds now. That's going to float up very nicely to Murray. Gallon finds his man, Sean Murray, in the end zone. Again, excellent clock management at the end for the goal for Philadelphia.
Yeah, Sean Murray alone there beyond the goal line, and Glazer, who had been making the deep cuts.
That's Gallon.
Gallon.
I want to call him Glazer, too, because his nickname is Slater, and Slater and Gallon make Glazer, to me. So, anyway, Murray there with the spike.
Looked like Murray and Bear, 2 men deep there for Philly. That's one of the longest throws we've seen from them today. And with only 1 man back for Boston to cover him, it's an easy catch for Murray.
Well, that narrows the gap to 3, and they're going to be pulling to to Boston right now with 3 ticks on the clock, and with this kind of wind, that's going to be the end of the second quarter, basically. Not much you can do there. What are some of the things that Coach Maroon might be talking to his team at halftime?
Well, they just kind of, like I said earlier, just get the simple things back underway. They've had a couple bobbles that have led to, turnovers, and Boston able to capitalize on them quickly. But they've got to establish a longer game here.
Yeah.
Because those short dump throws, Boston's able to read those and make the cuts necessary to just disrupt everything.
So the pull rolls, and the clock doesn't start until he picks it up, and he's going to bring it up to the goal line. The double team will slow things down. The hut comes, but it will be nowhere near. The greatest attempt from Pryle. Oh, a little tip drill over here. Little Mac line. Little Mac line almost gets it to the end zone, 15 yards short.
Worth a shot, right?
Why not? Absolutely. Have some fun out there. So, folks, we're going to go to another break real quick, and we'll come back in for some halftime talk. So stay right here on MLU Live. Hey, here we are back again at the halftime with the Spinners Fly Girls here on the field, and we've got a halftime interview set up with one of the stars of the Boston Whitecaps, Peter Pryle, with Antoine. Antoine, take it away.
Hey, I'm here on the sidelines with Peter. Peter, you're having one heck of a game. Talk about, what's going through your mind when you got off the bus and now you're playing this game.
Right, so we actually got here a little bit later than we wanted to. We got here around 4:45, so we only had 75 minutes or so for a warm-up. So we compressed it a little bit, and I think that affected us a little bit in the first quarter there. We were a little bit sloppy with the disc, and we were a little bit flat on defense, but we picked it up well in the second quarter. I think we're playing much better now, and I hope we continue that throughout the rest of the game.
What can we expect in the second half of the game? You guys came with a strategy. Is it working to the way you really wanted it to?
I think it's working so far. Yeah, we know what they like to do on offense, and we know who their main players are. And I think our defense is doing a really good job of shutting down their first option and making them go to secondary options. And I think our offense is running fairly smoothly. They've been playing a lot of zone in the first half, and our throwers are doing a very nice job of keeping their composure with the disc and maintaining the possession for us.
So I'm going to ask you the same question I asked the other guys on the team. Are you guys unbeatable?
Well, I think if we keep playing as well as we're playing, and if we keep working hard on Wednesday nights and on Monday nights, I think it's going to be very, very difficult for any team in the league to beat us.
That was a very good, honest, true answer. I appreciate it. Peter, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh, my God. Can't wait for the second half. Good luck, brother.
Thank you very much.
No problem. Back to you guys upstairs.
Thanks, Antoine. Well, there's Peter talking about working out a lot there. The Mondays and Wednesdays practicing for Boston, and they say it's paying off here. To put the work in and you get rewarded.
Oh, yeah, you can tell, especially through 5 games and through the 6th one here so far today with that 9-6 lead. They've been playing pretty well so far today. There's been a couple of sloppy mistakes on both sides, but Boston doing a nice job. The wind's been a factor a little bit, but Boston's done a good job on the heads-up plays, especially on the turnovers by Philly, and able to capitalize there, turn their defense into offense.
Yeah, I like that. I like their comfort level. They just seem just cool out there. They got no worries in the world.
Yeah.
Playing a little game of Ultimate, a nice, sunny, really windy day here in southeastern Philadelphia. Why not?
Yeah, pretty much, and that's that's a good attitude to have. If you're comfortable out there and you're having fun with the guys out there, you got good chemistry with your team. You're gonna have some good things happen this season.
Yeah, sure, and it's showing 5-0 and looking like they might have a good shot at going 6-0 and undefeated before their game tomorrow, which we'll also be at when Boston visits New York for the second half of their weekend.
Yeah, interestingly enough, that's going to be Boston's first back-to-back setup this season. So we'll see if they can keep playing the way they have been on a little bit of short rest.
Yeah, I mean, that's a lot of talk about these back-to-backs, and I think some of the veteran Ultimate players kind of scoff at that. I mean, we're used to playing.
They play every day.
Yeah, they're used to playing a whole weekend of Ultimate.
Exactly.
You go to the national championships. You're playing 3 games a day, and all the games are brutal, and the conditioning is severe, and you just got to make everything happen. So let's get to the plays of the week from Week 5 of the MLU. We've got some fantastic stuff here, Jeff. You were here for 2 of these plays, and we're going to start off with the offensive, with the Waveborn Offensive Play of the Week with Danny Clark.
Yeah, this was a great play. I mentioned it earlier as we were talking about how to score effectively when the quarter's running out, as we see. Starting off here, Brandon Malachek for Boston. He's got Danny Clark going all alone. The disc floats for a while. Danny Clark, it's Ben Fang there from Philly, but Danny Clark just he separates himself, reaches that right hand up, and there's a nice grab there. Fang really didn't have much of a chance there at all. Great job by Clark.
So, we had another great play in this game, at least. I mean, we saw the David Bear catch that, wasn't the top play because that went to Lucas Murphy, which we'll see a little later. There's Malachek with the release.
Yeah, look at the separation there between Clark and Fang, and he fends him off with the left hand, reaches that right hand up very nicely there.
Beautiful. Nice camera work. There's a third look at it, which is amazing. I really like Brandon Malachek's release point. I don't know if you know, he's got a nice low. He went underneath the defender's arm on that.
And this was such a huge point, too, because at that point, Boston was still trailing and unable to tie him up, and pretty much from that on, they went on to win the game.
So the defensive play of the week from last week, here he is, Michael Panna, who we've seen already today. And I want you to talk us through this one, Jeff.
Yeah, you don't see these too often. The Callahan defense, Michael Panna, interception in the end zone. Great heads-up work there. And the layout, he's pretty proud of that one afterwards. Just a great catch and a good heads-up defensive play.
Here's one I had the pleasure of attending, watching the Lucas Murphy Friction Gloves catch of the week on this IO forehand from Joe Anderson. Here's the give-and-go play with Murphy with the disc here. He's looking around, and he swings it up to Anderson, who gives it back to him. These guys played a lot together in college, and what a stick. This full body extension. I have actually taken a freeze frame of this, and you can see it. He's just full on out. And where did this go? But yes, ESPN.
Right.
Top
ESPN.
10 plays of the day. Number 8, Lucas Murphy right there with the layout catch and your Friction Gloves catch of the week. Brought to you by Major League Ultimate. I hope you're enjoying your start of the Memorial Day weekend here on Saturday. And enjoying our game here, 9-6 at the half, and we'll be back in a bit. Hey, Jeff Poster and myself, Tony Leonardo, back with you here at MLU Live, halftime of the Boston game. Next Saturday, we have next week's games here. Portland at Seattle, 4 o'clock. Also a live stream. Make sure to check that out. Portland going to try to climb back into the race against the Rainmakers. New York Rumble at Philadelphia right here at MLU Live, Saturday, 6 o'clock Eastern Time. And that should be an interesting game as they try to fight for second place. And Boston at D.C. So, and I think we have a Sunday game next week as well, Portland at San Francisco. So that's another one. There it is right there, Portland at San Francisco, 6 o'clock on the East Coast time out there on the West Coast. We see some of the guys warming up here. Jeff, we're going to take a look. Might as well just go straight to it. Some of the great plays we've seen so far here in the first half of action. Here's the one you're calling out.
Oh, yeah, I loved this one right here. Josh Cricket Marquette, like I said, he kind of faked him out with his eyes because he wasn't looking, and Peter Pryl makes that great cut in the end zone and a nifty scuba throw.
Oh, here's the pickup from Michael Bear. Way to just foul that overthrow just a little bit, and we're going to see the whole play out here now. Gets up to David Bear. David Bear lays it in, and Glazer comes down with it. Beautiful. Here's Matt Gallen. Oh, and this is the almost Callahan for Neff. I saw him talking afterwards to his friends. It looked like he wanted to have that one, but they're kidding about that. And Anderson gets it in for the goal for the Whitecaps.
Yeah, Neff did a nice job there, and that right there is an example of Boston's heads-up play and able to move fast. As soon as their defense makes the play, Boston moves so quick to get their defense into an offensive set.
So we're going to also take a look at the standings for this, the current standings. Here on the East Coast, we have the Boston Whitecaps 5-0. Well, you see them right there. New York and next game tomorrow, Sunday, Philadelphia at DC tomorrow. This game, this game here might not mean so much for Philadelphia, but this DC game tomorrow does.
Yeah, it really does. If you look at that standings, New York and Philly tied up right there, 2 and 3. But if Philly can't manage to win tonight, tomorrow becomes exponentially bigger for them, as you don't want to lose to that 1 and 4 DC team.
If they do, it'll be a real log jam at the middle. Here's the Western Conference standings, and right now the Dogfish and the Rainmakers. The Rainmakers and Nighthawks, I believe, are playing today. That game will go a long way to determining the West Coast kind of rush to the playoffs right there, as the Dogfish, Seattle, and Vancouver have the best shots at making it there, with Portland lagging behind a little bit. Southeastern Pennsylvania has never been sunnier than it has at this moment right now. Everyone's enjoying a little hot dog, some pulled pork, and we'll be right back as you enjoy your Memorial Day food as well. Memorial Day weekend. Welcome back to MLU Live. There's the flag whipping and the wind, of course, a major factor here today. One of the first really windy games we've seen in the league so far this year, but both teams have been handling it fairly well. We've seen some miscues, and the wind down there, Jeff, really makes it harder, I think, in so many ways.
Oh, yeah, it makes it, when you're a handler, it makes it difficult. You know, you got to figure out how you're going to throw the disc with that wind, and then when you're trying to make those cuts and read it, it can make it a lot more difficult because you don't know what the wind's going to do to it. You see it sometimes it'll bobble, move up and down throughout the wind, and sometimes it just flat out will die before you even think it's going to get to it. So you got to make this longer run, this great cut, try and get there, and it can really confuse you as a player sometimes.
You know, we saw that hammer die in the end zone from Broward Gieris that Reinhart tried to track down. That's, you know, sometimes the wind will push it down, and sometimes it'll rise it up. Both teams have been handling it fairly well, but the turnovers that we have been seeing, the drops, the wind is a major factor in that. It just disturbs your concentration as to where precisely the disc is going to be when it comes into your vicinity. You've got to have both your hands ready and hope for the best. So glad you're enjoying MLU Live here, and we'll be right back after this commercial break. Hey, folks, we had a little bit of the stream down, but thanks for sticking with us, and we'll be here for the rest of the night, so do stay tuned. For the goal after another previous guy, but we're back in here now. 10-6 Boston over Philadelphia, and Matt Gallen with the disc for Philadelphia, who have now dug themselves a 4-goal hole and are trying to hook them for it.
It throws Boston's defense off a little bit because Boston's been expecting that, the short game as we see it here again. Sean Murray with a great display of talent to huck this one down. And like you said, Tony, it was really a 50-50 game there. But
I like Salasco read that a little bit better there. He had a better read on it. Both players were there. I believe that might have been Hirschberger or Reinhardt there on the D. And and he just raced to the disc just at the right moment.
And you could tell too, Salasco didn't have to use his other arm to kind of fend off his defender, but he's able to get up there with both hands and really bring in and secure the disc nicely.
And he's a guy that Philadelphia can use in that situation. He's got a big body, he's tall, he knows how to get up in the end zone, and I'm glad that they found him there for that.
Yeah, we'll see if that's an adjustment that maybe they made at halftime to counter Boston's defense a little bit.
Well, Gallen here with a nice pull. We saw another beautiful pull from him earlier in the first half. Down to Cooper, up to Malachek. Malachek swings it, and the wind is just punched right now, and that causes that overthrow right there. Is it going to be collected? No. The wind just really rose up right at that moment, and another turnover from Boston. I'm sorry, the first turnover of the half from Boston. The big hammer throw. This is a little risky. Another 50-50 ball, and the D is there from Jeff Graham. Not the guy you want to challenge necessarily.
No, not really.
He just gets up. Boy, does he get up. Back to the Whitecaps with the disc. Malachek is faking it. Swings it. Oh, what a bid. But not in time. And it looks like Boston will retain possession as Misha Horowitz sticks with it. Oh, there's a big rip. Let's see if this hangs up there. Looks like Danny Clark's got the read. Oh, he does get the read. Oh, boy. Boy, Philadelphia upset on that.
Danny Clark just in enough for the score there. Sweet. That one, the wind definitely played a factor. You thought you saw Philly going up for it, but it really just hung up there for an extra second, and Danny Clark was very patient waiting for that disc to come down, and it pays off. It floats right in for the score for him.
Little old man savvy right there.
Here we
Look,
go
he's
again.
got the deep position, but he waits, decides to come under. And the bid there to go up for it is Matheson. No, I'm sorry, Patrick Lindsay. You can't believe that Danny Clark was able to come down with that.
Lindsay with the jump a little bit early because that disc hung up there, and really that ended up making it so that Clark didn't even have to jump. Just kind of waited and ran with it, read it nicely, and he gets the score.
Well, when you've got a 3-goal lead, you can kind of be comfortable that way, I feel, too. It's like, he didn't have to make that play. It's like even if he didn't make it, they've got field position and they're up by 3. So, Clark just played the odds there and read the disc.
Yeah, and that's one of the things Boston can relate to in a bigger picture sense if they end up going on to win this game. They've got breathing room and a chance to work and get everything perfect for a playoff push, or I should say just a playoff appearance. They'll already be in.
Yeah, they could start seeding some of their games and their players as to what they want to look for in their Eastern Conference Finals. But, it's a little too early there to make that judgment call right now. It's a 4-point game with a lot of wind in Philadelphia. Looks like there's a slight miscommunication there, or maybe trapped up into the sun there as Bear not able to come down with a Pana throw that went too far. Oh, a tipped disc, and Anderson's tipped comes to Pana, and Pana will pick it up for Philadelphia. Swing it into the middle here for Stephen Thor. Thor looking. No mark on him, so not much of a count, except that behind him is head referee James Kalinske making the silent count, so you have to be aware of that. Well, they're patient, but are they too patient, Jeff?
Well, I mean, sometimes, as now we see they're willing to go for those hucks.
Ooh, what a rip there. Wow, the Hatchet looks tired on defense there. And the easy goal. Sean Murray collects another throwing score to Matt Glazer after the beautiful put from David Bear.
Yeah, great there put by David Bear. And it's Sean Murray again, who we didn't see involved a lot in that first half, actually. And now we've seen 2 hucks, both of them involving Sean Murray as the thrower, the catcher this time. And Philly now doing what they needed to do and kind of mix up their offense so that Boston doesn't think they're too predictable with that short game. And now with the long game in there and the hucks, they can really get their offense rolling and keep Boston's defense on their heels a little bit more.
Well, let's hope it's not too late for Philadelphia. They put themselves in a 4-goal hole, now a 3-goal hole. But I agree with you, Jeff. I like that they are stretching the field, and they're showing that their throwers can get there. Murray first, and then Bear right there. Well, we got a shot here, of course. Second half, second quarter. Multi-Apps is the application designed to help teams and players track their performance on the Club Ultimate field. Now with a variety of updates and a new suite of applications, Multi-Apps is providing the power behind the MLU's push for in-depth and accurate statistics. They're also designing the MLU's Fantasy Ultimate application that will be available to fans just before the season starts. Well, that's a little old. We already have that. I have it. I've been playing that all year. A lot of my players are out here on the field right now. Fantasy Ultimate, of course, where you track the stats as you would a rotisserie or anything of that nature. Zid with the disc for Boston quickly moved up. Yeah, but he gets it off just in time. Marquette now, a little body on the mark, and he's looking for something. Finally, he's freed up as Cooper, and Cooper on my fantasy team looking for Marquette. Oh, the great bid there, but Lindsay not able to get there. Marquette, with the eye out to the back of the corner. Oh, dropped. Looks like Pryor could not collect that after this crafty throw from Marquette. Sailed through between 2 defenders and right to both hands of Pryor. And it looked like one hand knocked out the other.
Yeah, I'm going to give credit a lot to Philadelphia's defense right there. The wind did pick up the disc a bit, but Philly did a nice job on their marks and really forcing, as we see again here, the replay. Marquette, he has a couple of options that he wants to go to, but he can't get them off. As we saw 2 back-to-back great marks for Philly, and they just really disrupted the handler's rhythm there for Boston.
Well, now this is the problem that Philly has had, which is the short-handle game at certain key points, key moments, I should say, where they've turned it over on the short field, and they don't want to do that here for sure. So let's see what they do here. Michael Bear, this is the D-line, remember. This is not their main offensive guys on the field with the disc. Nonetheless, you have Gallon, who's a pretty important player for them to have back with all the throws, and he's getting the stalk count up high, but he finds Paparone. Paparone dishes it back to Gallon, who comes up the field. No problem on the near side. Big fake from Matheson, who is joining them from Lehigh University. 2 Lehigh players, Coach Byrne was telling me. Matheson and Carter out there for Philadelphia. And Matheson back with the disc. Double team he's facing, and he's looking, wow, what a zone here. Crafty, and he's going to have to do something with it quick, and he fortunately gets bailed out and finds Paparone in the middle. Paparone swings it. Nice job there by the young Matheson and Paparone to clear that tricky zone.
And I think Boston lucky. I think they could have been called for a triple team almost in that scenario. They've got this little triangle defense going around near the handlers. That's working out well.
Nice tipped. And an unfortunate drop from Gallon, who's maybe working off a little bit of rust there as he's back for the first time. The big hammer goes up. Prowl should get this. Reinhardt. Whoa, the sun is right in my eyes.
That might have been Zid.
Okay. Cooper with the disc. I can recognize him. And Cooper finds his man Prowl right there. And again, they move so fast here. They're already knocking on the door. They don't miss a lot of time. Marquette's looking for somebody, and he swings it up to Graham, who fakes up the line and fakes another one.
Jeff Graham looked like he almost was toying with the defense a little bit. And there's that patent celebration by Alex Cooper, his little dance there in the end zone. Graham with a couple of fakes left, right, and Cooper's just waiting for it right in front of him.
He must have just known that he was going to throw it to Cooper right there, right?
We see it again. Is Graham, he fakes it forward.
Yeah, this back fake is the one that did it, yeah. He must have seen Cooper sneak in there and just gets all the Philly guys to one side and then finds the open man through the middle. And that's a break for Boston. Well, actually, I should say they held there to maintain their 4-goal lead, 12-8. So wind still a factor. Discs popping up in the air. People not able to make the collected passes. Drops becoming quite the theme here for Philadelphia.
Yeah, we saw that last one there. I believe it was on Gallen. Just he had the disc and just flat out dropped it. I don't know if that, like you said earlier, if it maybe it was a little bit of rust as he's coming off that injury. But you can't make those mental errors if you want to keep up with Boston.
Well, the wind will always be a factor in that, but so far it hasn't affected Boston as much as it has Philadelphia. David Bear will check the disc in here with Michael Panna back and Katzen back in the middle with Murray out there and Stephen Thor and 14 Matt Glazer for Philadelphia as they look to try to narrow this gap at 12-8, 3 minutes left in the third quarter. Bear coming in, they're running a vertical stack. He swings it up high to Glazer, but pumps it up too high. Fortunately, Murray there to follow up.
Right place, right time.
Yeah, sometimes that's going to happen. It's fortunate with the vertical stack. He's able to find the space on the sideline there. And Panna, tries a little dishy, kind of a break mark, and Bear not able to come down with it. And again, Boston seems like they're just with the disc all the time.
And they create so much space for their handlers when they have the disc. Really, we only saw that one play about 2 possessions ago for Boston where Philly really crowded the disc along the line, the sideline.
A little body there from Glazer on Hirschberger. Hirschberger now facing a burst of wind. Does manage to find his man, Brara Jarish. And BJ, as they call him, finds Hirschberger, who finds... Myers, I believe.
Yeah, that's Robin Myers. What a grab. Leaped up there, that right hand extended nicely. I got to talk about that cut, though, by Hirschberger right before that was perfect. Able to beat his man and set up a good positioning there in order to throw that one in for Myers. Here we see it with Brauer Jaris first, and now watch as you see Hirschberger cut across right there in front of that 20-yard line, beats his man. That was Chow, I believe. And then he finds Myers extending up in for the score. Nicely done.
Well, Boston now extends their lead to 13-8. 5-goal lead here for the 5-0 Boston Whitecaps. Undefeated, looking for more and feeling comfortable here at Colonial Stadium in Plymouth Meeting, Pennsylvania, on this increasingly sunny day as the clouds have now drifted off in their eastward pattern. It's been the wind has obviously been quite the factor today, but I've seen some great plays out there, and we're hoping for some more of that action. There's the sun right there, which is basically what we're looking into right now towards the west. The players don't have to deal with that as much as their directional is north-south, and the wind is a bit of a crosswind. Here's the zone now from Boston. This is interesting. In the first half, they're playing man coming down on the D line, and now they're playing zone. I think they want to slow the pace of the game down. There's Wish on the field, Jonah Wish, 38, who for some reason we haven't seen too much of or called his name out a lot. I don't know if he's not been in the handle, but Panna gets it up to Salasko. Salasko looking. Let's see if they're going to keep with that deep look. Chow fakes it. Chow wants something, and he's getting timed. He's going to get close. Panna keeps his feet in. Laces an IO. Laces a beautiful throw. A little defense is there. He gets knocked. Oh, and there's a goal. Murray collects that after Neff gets bodied up a little bit by Glazer. Sort of unintentionally rules the referee. Says it was incidental contact. And there's the backflip from Sean.
Sean Murray really getting involved here in the third quarter. He made a good cut as we see it. Different angle there. Panna makes the throw. And you're going to see a couple of bodies here get, there's the bump by Neff, but it's Murray who ends up coming over and making the grab.
Yeah, Glazer sort of ran a sort of a release pattern on that and sort of like flared in front of the defender and was able to get in his way and claim it to be in conjunction with trying to track down the disc. And no calls made, and Murray there for the sky and the goal to bring it to 13-9. Jeff, how long was that bus trip?
Well, we were supposed to leave at 9, and...
What was the traffic like on Saturday Memorial Day weekend?
Not too bad, and then George Washington Bridge was a little backed up, but I think that's always the case.
What was the third movie? You said you watched the 2009...
Basketball.
Basketball.
They were all about these team-oriented sports movies, trying to get ready for today.
So which one is this game most like, basketball or Mighty Ducks?
Oh, man. I'd have to say it's probably more like basketball. The Mighty Ducks were a bit of an underdog, and I don't think you can call Boston much of an underdog this season.
Okay. So the guys from South Park are on the field right now, causing havoc. Danny Clark lofts it up to Peter Pryl, clearly inspired by that movie. Matt Stone and Trey Parker, I believe, right?
That's right. Great catch there.
And Malachek. Looks like he threw it too far, but he didn't. Marquette sneaks it into Pryl. Whoa, there's some kind of... Pryl was looking over to his defender, who just ran off the field and is still running. Lindsay is upset that he's not able to get to his spot there. I think we'll see this on the replay there as Marquette sneaks it in on the backhand of the forehand side. That quick release from Marquette really is beautiful.
Yeah, you talked about it earlier, Tony. Boston is just, they're so fast with their releases. It doesn't give Philly much of a chance to kind of catch up, and Pryl ready there with the quick release after a couple of quick catches. And again, the speed of Boston, I think, has been a big factor for them to keep this 4 to 5 goal lead now, as it keeps kind of switching back and forth.
Well, Marquette really is putting up some crazy numbers right now. Jim Parinella is going to beat me this week if Marquette keeps up these numbers on the fantasy stats.
Well, Marquette picking up the pace. One of the factors for Philadelphia today was to limit Jeff Graham. I think they've done that.
They have done that.
Jeff hasn't been much of a factor today, but it's been Marquette who's taken over for him, really, and has been him and Pryl have been the big storylines for Boston so far.
Well, some of the experience showing there, Marquette, of course, and Danny Clark and Jeff Graham, all in their 30s, and having no problem with this wind and this kind of game right now. Pana is just desperately in trouble.
Yeah,
barely gets it off. There's a body contact foul.
That was Sean Doherty on the mark there. It's a name we have not heard yet today. Did a great mark.
It's a great mark, and just the last second, Pana gets bailed out by the body. Up to Glazer. Glazer back to Pana. Pana playing a lot in where Hiranet would play, and that key handle position as Hiranet is out. A little body mark there again by Teddy Brower-Jaris. I'm not sure why he needed to do that, but checks back in. Oh, another drop from Philadelphia. Glazer can't hold on to that one.
Well, that one just the drop. I don't think the wind played a factor in all that. Glazer had a nice cut. He was all alone there. Would have been in for the score, and he just can't hold on to the disc.
Came in a little fast, and looks like we might be having a timeout. So we'll be going to another quick commercial break here as you're enjoying your live MLU broadcast, and we'll be right back. Hey, welcome back to MLU Live here at Plymouth Meeting, Pennsylvania, the home of the Philadelphia Spinners and their inaugural season at Major League Ultimate. Hosting the Boston Whitecaps, the undefeated Boston Whitecaps, Jeff, and they seem to be well on their way to another win.
Well, yeah, it seems that way as we close out here the third quarter. We'll see if Philadelphia here can manage the clock and make this just a 4-goal game going into the fourth, but it's really just been Boston's speed and their defense turning over things quickly, and Philadelphia they can't seem to keep up so far today, and that's been the difficulty and the difference for them.
Well,
in this one.
I would defer. I would say, did I say that right? Differ? I would differ. I would say that Boston's execution, Boston's disc handling skills has proved superior. This is a game where some of those turnovers we've seen, whether it be drops or overthrows, should be more common. But Boston, just their sheer disc throws and skills have been just overpowering even the wind factor to the point where they're leading this game by such a large margin. And I credit that to some of this action.
There goes, watch Danny Clark there on the near side. It looked like he wanted to take off.
I mean, he just flipped that scuba like nothing. Now, Proyle's got a shot at the end zone here with 6 seconds left. He's got one more shot here. Graham's going to put it up if he recognizes, and he does not. No, he does. He leads his man. So Jeff Graham leads Peter Pryle into the end zone on a very sneaky play. Normally it would be a kind of throw it up into the end zone, but no, instead he just flies it out to the flat.
Yeah, Jeff Graham. We're still not sure if he's actually aware of that clock with 1 second, but a nice job there to wrap things up if we see it here.
He's looking at it, looking, waiting, and then throws, and he still has a second left on the clock, and Pryle makes sure to get in the end zone for the end of the third quarter. So, hey, great thanks for staying with us, and we'll be back in just a moment. You're watching Major League Ultimate, if you haven't figured that out already, which has proven to be a fantastically exciting game of Ultimate here in Philadelphia. There's some little what is this?
It's like a little bit of halftime games here. And
well, it's not even halftime. It's the third quarter.
Start of the fourth.
Start of the fourth. This is the traditional Philadelphia start of the fourth activity, I believe. Do we have a winner? Well, they're collecting the discs there. Jeff, we were talking about just before the end of the quarter here, what we thought Jeff was doing, Jeff Graham.
Yeah, Philadelphia gave Jeff Graham pretty much all the time he wanted, and he only needed 1 second there at the end. He's staring at the clock. It's right there in front of him, and he sees Peter Pryle making a cut almost from behind him, but he knows, he's like, I got Peter. I can get it to him. So he just kind of throws it up, waits for Peter to run it down, catches it. Peter makes a nice jump into the end zone. And they score as time expires.
Well, I mean, we're not. Maybe we'll get a shot of the clock at some point. But if you see the clock on this end zone here, Field, the direction that Graham threw that disc to Pryle, he had to have been staring at that clock as it ticks down here at Colonial Stadium, Colonial Field. So he knew he had 2-3 seconds. The Philadelphia defense, however, is facing the other direction. They're not able to see the time clock, and an advantage to Graham and to Boston, where they collect the score to make it 15-9 at the start of the fourth. And again, they've been stretching in these leads. It seems like, all second half, after the second quarter, really, they've really just kind of kept up this 2, 3, 4, 5 goal. They just keep inching up even more and more. Yeah,
Philly will manage to, tie it up or keep it within like a 3-goal lead, and then a couple of points. Boston's got it up to 4. They bring it back to 5, then it's back to 4, and Boston every so once in a while, every couple of minutes, it creeps up one more goal, and now we're up to a 6-goal lead.
They're playing with 18, 19 guys out there. Here's our list right here. Casey Turp out, Simmons inactive, Chris Waite inactive, Jake Taylor Frogger inactive. He'll be around tomorrow. Miles Montgomery Butler out. He's helping coach today. Dave Truesdale out, helping coach. Might come back at the end of the season. Left calf injury. Pryle, Clark, and Hatchett all listed as probable. I wonder if this right here, we saw Hatchett sort of like a little tired in one of those plays after he got the tee in the score.
That's true.
Maybe he's starting to feel. They have 18, 19 guys. That's it, and they look like it's not a problem for
Doesn't
them.
even a factor with them. And another thing is, too, their coach, Jason Adams, is actually out today, and that leaves the coaching duties up to Jeff Graham on the field. Possibly maybe why we haven't seen him as involved as much. Maybe he's doing a little bit more direction of the team on the field.
Might be calling the lines and stuff, in fact. Yeah, sure. So your Philadelphia Spinners here have got a chance to really, at this point, Jeff, I want to say they want to gain some confidence. They're down by 5. I'm not saying the game's entirely out of reach, but they've been kind of behind it all game. They're pulling to start the 4th. They want to find just some things that are going to work for them. Find some connections. Find, like they found earlier with David Baer making that deep huck, Murray making the huck, stretching the game, improving every opportunity they can. They've got a big game tomorrow. Anything they can gain from this 4th quarter is going to help them against what's I can only describe as going to be a hungry and ferocious DC team tomorrow.
Yeah, we might see Philly dip more into their bench and see if they can get some of these other guys. Maybe something they haven't seen yet in games and might find something that works. You never know, especially when you're down this much. And it's really the game, like you said, Tony, tomorrow that could be a make or break point for them this season.
Well, right now, Michael Baer, Matt Gallen, Nick Perifico, Patrick Lindsay, these are the guys on the field. They're going to have to do something for Philadelphia. There's Malachek off the bat with a big forehand hug and finds his man, Peter Pryl, able to go up and get it. And Pryl, that's a way to get some yards. And Graham, again, with those fakes. Wow, he's having good time with that disc fake is amazing. Malachek finds his guy, and that's Josh Marquette for the goal.
Malachek, Pryl, Marquette, those have been the guys, all the factors here for Boston.
All day long.
Pretty much. And they continue to do it here. I mean, we did see Jeff Graham again with a couple of fakes, but Malachek got things started with the big huck. Here we started with Jeff Graham, and he gets it back to Malachek. Malachek's really their main handler here on this team. And Marquette in there easily for the score.
Well, now Malachek's going to have an interesting time tomorrow when we see them against New York. Because, let's see. Oh, that Wisconsin game is happening right now. Let's see if his team in college is winning. Okay, I'm not going to talk about that. He'll find out afterwards, perhaps, that Wisconsin was just upset by California Davis in the pre-quarters there at home in Wisconsin. So, disappointing day for Wisconsin Hodags fans and a couple of the players out here on the field. But maybe they're taking it on the Philadelphia guys right now, Malachek and Hatchett. So Pana with the disc here for Philadelphia. Drops it down to Baer. Again, they're probably looking for some action. Trey milks that a little bit and gets his action cats and back, swings it back down to Baer. Baer over to Pana. Pana looking around, finds a man in the middle. That's Thor. Thor had the nice tip and catch earlier. Thor through the middle, caught by Glazer.
Glazer very active on the field. I've seen him running.
I didn't see him
cuts.
Yeah, he's a big player for these guys. I didn't see him much in the first quarter, and he's definitely been making a presence here in the second, third. Whoop! Just as we said that, he pops one up into the wind side, and Boston tries to capitalize right away to Hatchett and does. So Jack Hatchett collects 2 goals.
Saw Boston do this last week too. In that second half, they felt confident about where their lead was up, and their confidence is soaring. You see, they're kind of just having fun out there now. I believe that was, it is. It's Hirschberger here at the long huck, and Hatchett pretty much all alone there. Just has to run this one down and make the easy grab. So Boston really just running away with it now with an 8-goal lead.
Well, Glazer tried to pop it up, try to shoot that into the wind. The wind's coming from this sort of, on your screen here, right to left action. It's a crosswind from the right side coming across the left here, and he basically shot that disc right into it. This flag that you're looking at here is to the left of the field, and that's just above the scoreboard. And that wind's still blowing, and when you don't put enough zip on, enough spin, or keep the disc low enough, what can happen is the wind will just kind of rise it up into the air. And it's just a few directions like that are particularly evil, and that was exactly what that Glazer throw was, and an unfortunate turnover for Philadelphia, and again capitalized on quickly. Zargum in to handle now for Philly, and Jonah Wish, who we haven't seen enough. Wow, big bid there from Anderson, but Pana rips it down. He's got a man. And Reinhardt's there indeed. It's going to be a 50-50 ball, and it's anyone's disc, and it gets kind of bottled up into there, and a big crowd, and everyone goes down.
Well, you were just talking about the wind picking those discs up, and that one did. It rose, and when it finally got to that point, it just fell straight down, and it allowed a couple of big group of guys there all to fight for it, and no one came up with it.
There's that same angle again. Neff this time pops it up into that direction, and another turnover. And let's see if Zargum and Wish can make a connection here. Wish looking for something. Wish drops it back to Zargum. Zargum looking. Zargum's got a break mark to Glazer, but can't get to him. Instead, he lifts. Oh, he does find Glazer. So Michael Zargum with the completion to Matt Glazer for the goal.
Glazer's staying really active so far there. He's making cuts left and right. North and south, east, west, doesn't matter. And they've been trying to get it to him all the time, and finally able to pay this one off here in the fourth quarter.
I like this direction. Shooting it to that corner is the way to go. Like if Zargum, he wanted to look, I think maybe we'll see here, he kind of was thinking about throwing the IO break mark to the upwind up here, but he doesn't. Instead, he sticks with this side and able to kind of just softly kind of lay that in there for the goal.
Yeah, using the wind a little bit that time to his advantage, and Glazer with a nice cut, able to reel it in.
17-10 is your score. Surprisingly, I'm a little surprised. I didn't know it was 17. I think I think they're adding numbers at this point. I mean, it's probably actually just 15 and someone just forgot and just gave them a couple more. Sometimes that happens. You can coax the scorekeeper and be like, yo, we got another point, and then they just, okay. So, Spinners here with the pull. And Cooper will pick it up. Zargum stays out in the field as he comes down here on the pull. Malachek drops it to Horowitz, Misha Horowitz, looking. And just moves it up casually to Marquette. Marquette with some fakes. A lot of good fakes here from Boston. Fakes it and then throws it into the middle to Jeff. Graham hangs it. Oh, what a nice catch. And swings it back to Graham. Graham dumps it upfield to Malachek. Malachek to Pryle has been making himself available, and for good reason. Pryle collects a score, throwing it to Marquette, reverses the order.
Yeah, the trio's still in effect there, right there. Malachek, Marquette, and Pryle, but this time it's Marquette with the score. Really, the three of them have been the story of the game here for Boston. And it was done nicely and quickly again. As it started off with Danny Clark all the way on the other side. Boston did a nice job working it over to Graham, back to the little center, and Malachek swings it all the way back to the far other side, the near side. Pryle finding Marquette for an easy score.
18-10 Boston Whitecaps here at MLU. One of the, with this sun here, Waveborn Glasses has been a sunglass company with, helps to sponsor a lot of things. People around the world, actually, is one of the sponsors here for Major League Ultimate. They're a sunglass company that combines affordable fashion with the mission to have a major social impact. For each pair of sunglasses sold, Waveborn helps a person in need in one of two ways: provide a new pair of prescription eyeglasses through the nonprofit partner Unite for Sight, or they fund a portion of vision-restoring cataract surgery for a person in need through their nonprofit partner Surgical Eye Expeditions International. So Waveborn sunglasses here, and there's a big huck from Murray, and it does float a bit, quite a bit, and skied instead by Boston's number 5.
That's Sean Doherty.
Doherty goes up big for it, makes it look easy.
Call him Tubbs.
Do they?
Yes, I couldn't tell you why, but that's the nickname.
Well, Tubbs gets one. Anderson wants this one. And Clark again baits his man. Wow. Oh, that's Hatchett. Jack Hatchett looks like he was going to go in and goes out and catches another goal, and he's making an impact on this game.
Yeah, Hatchett's been involved a couple of plays here nicely. We see his little Hatchett motion there, the score, and watch it again here. Hatchett beats his man down easily with a nice cut. Boston just doing whatever they want out there right now.
Well, it's their D team. It's
Yes.
when their D gets the turnover, they move very fast and they look to the end zone. It doesn't seem like they want more than 3 throws. You know,
Score quick.
Yeah.
Keep piling it on.
Yeah, I mean, if it's open, put it.
Take
is what
it.
they're
Exactly.
Yeah, that's what they seem to be. They don't need to. We saw them last week have to slow down the game a little bit, even just to kind of stall it out. But there's 6 minutes left here. Keep on shooting it into the end zone, put up some points, and make people know that they're here to dominate. If it's going to happen, they're going to do it. Be happy. So Philadelphia Spinners. Zargum out there still. Zargum breaks the mark up to Bear, who cannot hang on. Uncle Bear, a little bit of a hot throw there and a little low. And Bear into the wind again there for Zargum. Not able to come up with it. And Teddy Brower-Jarris with the disc for Boston. BJ, as they call him, swings it out to Hirschberger. Teddy Brower-Jarris drops that disc. So disc back to Philadelphia. Zargum will pick it up. Zargum swings it into the middle to Salasco. Salasco dumps into Fafari. Surf is looking up to Zargum, who makes a play. Zargum's faking. Salasco's cutting deep. Salasco needs to cut a little bit deeper. And Trigu gets it back to Zargum just in time. Zargum's got Salasco up. Gets it to Salasco. Salasco gets it up to Ben Fang. Fang looking. He's got a man wide open, but doesn't see him on the same side of the field, and instead swings to Zargum, who finds Trigu, who finds Bear. Himalayan Mehta with the disc. Mehta gets up to Fang. Fang will put it, a little edge, and that was poached nicely, I want to say. I think Salasco had to make the cut out and then back in, and sort of an easy D there for Hirschberger.
Yeah, Hirschberger, nice cut there, basically reading that one as if he was playing offense with Philly.
Yeah, he sort of anticipated that, didn't he?
That's okay. He beat his man. He saw where his man wanted to go, and he got there first.
Hirschberger will get the chance to put it deep to Anderson. Will this stay in bounds? Indeed, it looks like it will. What a rundown by Anderson, who gets the distance separation, and now he's got a chance to add another score. Myers with the disc now. Myers has a wide open man. Looks like that's Eric Stevens, and Eric Stevens has the layout. Did he get it? Yes, he did.
They made it a little bit harder than it needed to be there for Stevens.
Well, the wind sort of looked like they took it away from him and then kept it up just enough as it was trying to push it away, and Eric Redshirt Stevens lays it out.
Yeah, Stevens, nice job sticking with it again. We see they thought about him initially, and then Fang not really keeping up with him. They leave Stevens alone. He hustles there as the wind kind of maybe pushed that one a little bit farther away, but a great layout grab there for Stevens.
I want to say it's a good call by the referees. It was tough to tell, but he had that up by maybe an inch and a half off the ground. Not a lot of space, and for them to be able to kind of get their eagle eyes down there and see that disc still above the turf is an excellent call by them. You're watching Major League Ultimate live. Hope you're enjoying the sun here as it's backlit the players. Will Neff there with the disc in the pool. One of the years that Michigan, his alma mater, did not make college nationals. So maybe this team's really angry about college nationals. I'm really humping that theme.
You never know. There's always going to be something in the back of their minds, right?
Bear with the disc. Katzenbach.
Murray making the big cut downfield.
Well, right now, it looks like Boston just letting them have the unders, just, daring them to throw it deep. They're playing behind their men, except for this. There's the opening. Myers can't get there, but Bear can. Boom! What a beautiful catch. What speed that guy has. David Bear makes it look easy somehow.
Yeah, we saw David Bear last week do a lot of that against Boston as well, just beating his man down the field. He does have a lot of speed, as we see it again here. Bear just took off, and you see a little bit of hesitation there from the Boston defender, and Bear able to capitalize on it and catch up to that disc.
I talked to my cousin last week. He went to school with David Bear at Drexel. I said, what's up with this guy? He's really good. He's making a lot of plays for Philadelphia, and him and his brother are kind of beastly out there. And he said he's fast.
That's all you can say.
So my cousin said he's fast. He's very fast, and he's got beautiful throws, and he's gets rewarded there for his speed and his throws with the goal for David Bear. Well, not a lot for the cheerleaders to cheer about. Yeah, though they're let's see if we can see them on the sideline there. It's kind of nice. They welcomed everyone into the stadium, and then they did a little routine with the players as they were introduced. We saw a little routine by them at the half. It was very nice, and it's kind of cool. Clark.
Ooh, great layout D right there.
There's Chow getting on the board, huh?
I haven't seen him involved as much today as he was last week before he rolled that ankle, but right there.
Well, that's a factor
Great
with the
D.
wind, too. It's sometimes it's tough to get those angles when the discs are popping up and crazy things are happening. Parifico, Michael Bear gets it to Matt Pepperone for the goal. Pepperone gets on the board.
Paparone in there for the score. You see now, Philly scored 2 straight, so they're not going down quietly. They're going to fight and claw their way back into this one if they can.
Well, it's going to take layout blocks like that.
Exactly. You know, Chow doing a nice job there as we see Paparone again with a good cut. Great throw there by Michael Bear. So they'll fight and claw and try and dig their way in and see what they can do here in the final 3:25, but it's really an uphill battle against Boston.
Shadows getting long here. Lights staying off. 3 minutes left here at Colonial Stadium, Plymouth meeting, just a little bit west of Philadelphia, home of the Philadelphia Spinners, who have had sort of disappointing last couple of games. They start off 2-0 in the season, and coming off their very highly successful 2012 season when they went undefeated.
Mm-hmm.
Undefeated at the end of the season when they went off to win the championship, and started off strong at 2-0, and they felt good about themselves and felt good, and the power rankings had them at the top.
Yeah.
And since then, they've really fallen off the pace here.
Well, ironically, too, home field hasn't been much of an advantage for Philadelphia. So they haven't won here yet. They're 2 wins, both coming on the road, as we see Boston again. Who else? Marquette.
Marquette's making it look easy out there. Having fun going up. He's not a big guy. He's probably 5'10", something like that, but he gets up skies for the disc. Maybe he was inspired by that 2009 video you watched.
He might have been. You see it again, Marquette just beating his man downfield. He draws 2 guys there at the end, but able to leap up and grab that one. That was Chow, actually, that he beat down the field.
Yeah, well, once he's got the space, it's really tough. He let that disc go over his head, kind of waited, boxed out his man just enough that Chow couldn't make a kind of running attempt at it. And Marquette collects another goal as he's just adding to his total here in Philadelphia. Will Neff with the disc, one of the main pullers for this Boston Whitecaps team. You'll see him or Mike Miller pulling it down. And the Spinners down here. Looks like who's going to receive that? Oh, that's Jonah Wish, the 18-year-old who's going to Pittsburgh. We were talking about this earlier too, Jeff. He is going to be a freshman next year at the University of Pittsburgh, the defending college champions. Here's a big hug from Zargam on the forehand side. Wow, nice put. Hangs in there nicely for the goal.
Great put there by Zargam. Another great reception there.
Kurt Henning comes down with it.
Not a name we've heard too much today or called, but these are the questions, though, now. You see Philly has had a couple of hucks that have been successful here, especially in the second half. Where was that in the early part of this game? And they could have really thrown Boston's defense for a loop, as we see it again. Henning beating both men down the field nicely. But they probably could have thrown Boston maybe trying to focus some other defensive patterns, but instead they went with that short game, and it wasn't really paying off for them. It worked. That first quarter we saw the game was fairly close, but the Hucks have been, I feel like, a little bit too late this one.
Yeah, maybe. It's tough when, just Boston hasn't turned over the disc. They've been playing a really good game, and when they get a turnover, they are scoring. When Boston gets the disc, it seems like they're making things happen every time. Well, they got their, again, the 18-19 guys. They're seeing the same guys out there every time for Boston, and Cooper picks it up, almost overthrows. Well, he does, but Malachek enough space to come down with it and lifts a forehand. That's going to go a little too far. Sales drifts down for Marquette, who can't quite track that one down. And Chow, the matchup here, will pick up the disc for Philadelphia with 2.5 minutes left on the clock in the fourth quarter here at Philly's home stadium, Colonial Stadium in Plymouth Meeting. A flippy scoober over the top of Slasko is successful by Chow. Chow with the disc. Facing a loose cup. Probably just meant to slow down any huck attempts, but throws it a little too far for, looks like Kurt Henning again, who tries to make the leap on the sideline, the near side here, but not able to come down with it. And Malachek now trying to figure out what he wants to do. Clock's getting up a little high, but he finds Cooper on the dish. Cooper with the disc. Cooper swings it to Pryl. You know, here's the thing, Jeff, is you're seeing Pryl. I talked to Jeff Graham before the game, and I said, you know, you were handling a lot last weekend, and you're known for scoring a lot of goals. You know, why were you handling? He said, well, you know, with our guys, if the opportunity's there, I think everyone can move the disc and hold the disc.
Oh, yeah.
And that's why you're seeing Peter Pryl in the handle position, Marquette downfield catching goals, Graham in the handle position. These guys are really moving parts of a whole.
Yeah, Boston is a very versatile team. They got guys who can do, basically each player on there can do anything that you need them to do at any given time, really. They confident handlers even when they're listed as a cutter on this team. They can play defense when they're supposed to be on offense.
And that's, I think, what you're seeing, you know, as a key to their success, especially the last couple of weeks, and they've been able to withstand Philly in the twice now. Looks like
This will be close.
Close. Nice bid there for Fari. Looks like he tried to keep it toe down with the defense of Marquette, but unable to, and Marquette will pick up the disc here for the Boston Whitecaps, leading 21-13 and cruising comfortably to their 6th win of the season. Pryl with the disc. Peter Pryl to Danny Clark. Clark will rip it. Oh, what a D!
Oh, nice D.
Oh, Chow.
Yeah.
Oh, collects it. So was that a catch block? Would you call that a catch
I
block?
think, yeah, he got it. So, I mean, the block first, the catch just came a little bit later.
Yeah, Cricket got it back. I'm sorry, Marquette. Josh Cricket Marquette there for Boston with the D to get it back, and Horowitz now with the disc. To Pryl. Clock ticking down. Malachek, Marquette. They're just going to sit it out here now. And this is pretty much the end of your 6th game of the season, folks. We got another one tomorrow, of course. And later on tonight, I think you should tune in and watch the West Coast game at 10 o'clock East Coast time. So from all of us here at MLU, we've had a great day, a great time broadcasting. Jeff Poster, Tony Leonardo. We have Matt Gray. He's saying something to me. I'm not entirely sure what. We're going to look at some of the highlights of the game, but we'll come right back after a commercial. Thanks for listening. wrap of your Philadelphia Spinners and Boston Whitecaps. The Whitecaps pull this one out 21-13, basically in control most of the way since the end of the first quarter. So we're going to end up going down on the field here pretty soon to Brandon Malachek with our Antoine, who will tell us a little bit about Malachek's game today.
Makes this Boston team virtually unbeatable.
I think our D-line is a really scary group of guys. We got Will Neff, John Hirschberger, some big defenders, big throws, and so when the other team puts it deep, Philly put some throws up in the air, and we came down with, most of them. We play really good deep D. So I think a lot of teams struggle to work it under. It's a long field for them to go all the way down there.
Now you have the New York Rumble tomorrow. They've won the last 2 games. They are gelling as a team. You have the game today, plus the travel. Do you think they're going to be able to give you a run for your money tomorrow?
I think we're getting better every game that we play. We're really on the up and up. Every game we're gelling a little bit more. And, today was really windy. I think if tomorrow is just as windy, I have more confidence in our team. We got a great group of guys, and if Jeff, plays some more points, I think he's really going to take it to him.
So would you go on record and say that you're going to go undefeated this season and you'll be playing someone on the West Coast?
Well, I don't want to do what the Patriots did, where you go undefeated and then lose in finals. I've done that before. It's no fun. I'd rather have us, mix it up late in the season, maybe put our D on O, mix it up and see what happens so we can actually go out there in the West Coast and beat San Fran, beat Seattle when it really matters.
Cool. And as far as tomorrow's game, who are you looking forward to in terms of matchups?
Well, I always love guarding Heyman. Mazer is really, he's got a lot of throws and really runs hard. I mean, we just want to take it to those guys. And I think our D-line really has the firepower to really, hit them in the face once.
Sounds good. Congratulations again, brother. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
We're wrapping this up here at Plymouth White Marsh High School. Philadelphia Spinners, another loss. Boston Whitecaps, undefeated, still going strong. Back to you guys upstairs.
Thanks, Antoine. Well, we just heard from Brandon Malachek, and he talked about wanting to guard Dan Heyman, his old teammate there at Wisconsin. And he also talked about going undefeated one season and then losing in the finals. That was an Boston Ironside year, and I believe they lost in the semifinals after, having an undefeated perfect season and being the top of the heap. So he doesn't want to repeat that necessarily, but still, they are undefeated.
Yeah, Boston now 6-0, and now this really gives them that luxury of kind of toying with things a little bit, making sure everything is clicking just as we come up on the postseason play so that they don't have to, potentially go undefeated and then lose in the final game if that comes to be. But this is a good opportunity for them to really fix things, and it's also now it puts Philadelphia in a difficult position. Tomorrow becomes a must-win situation for them if they want to stay alive here as they go and face D.C.
I'm not sure it's necessarily a must-win because I'm looking at this next week game again. They got New York versus Philadelphia. If New York loses, they're going to be tomorrow when they play Boston. They'll be 2-4. The Spinners will either be 2-4. They're 2-4 right now. They'll either be 2-5 or they'll be 3-4. Either way, the matchup against the Rumble is going to matter. The winner of that is going to be in second place, depending on where the current can't do anything at this point. So, I think the big game is going to happen next week for Philadelphia when their season's going to be kind of in the crosshairs. Hey, thanks for tuning in from everyone here at MLU. We've had a great time. It's a great opportunity to watch amazing Ultimate and experiencing it the way it should be experienced. And we just want to thank you for watching the game, and stay tuned for the West Coast game and catch us next week. So for Jeff Poster, Matt, Ben, our director, I'm Tony Leonardo. Thanks for tuning in, and see you next time.